Blessed to be a part of your day. Kevin Miller in the morning here at KIDO Talk Radio, along with on-site producer George and Austin. Ray and Maya back at the Broadcast Center. We are here at Compass Public Charter School, thanks to CapEd Credit Union, Team Mazda Subaru, and our friends at Grade Power Learning, powering your education. And remember, a lot going on today. And before we get to David Bozell, we want to congratulate Haley in Boise and James in Boise for winning our Kevin Miller's dinner from the Indian Creek Steakhouse in Caldwell. Dinner for two. You're going to love it. So if you'd like to join Haley and James, listen between now and 7:20-ish. When you hear me give you the cue to call, be caller 10 at 580-5436. 580-KIDO. Remember to listen every Thursday for Thank You Thursdays. And the dinners at the Indian Creek Steakhouse are just simply awesome. You'll win my dinner if you're caller 10 at 580-5436. We'll give you the cue to call coming up between now and 7:20-ish. Coming up, our friend Chandler, he's going to join us from Compass Public Charter School. But before that, we go live to Washington, D.C., or maybe somewhere in an undisclosed city in Virginia. David Bozell joins us of For America. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Kevin. I want to go to a steakhouse.
Look, it is not a steakhouse. It is the steakhouse. It's truly a Western.
I want to go to the steakhouse.
Well, look, here's the deal. Now, you highfalutin, nice guy, we love you, but you're kind of an elitist because you're on the East Coast. You probably go to these like faux steakhouses with their faux saddles and spurs, and you want to really live the Western experience. And I'm not talking Park City Western experience. I'm talking the real West. Of course, this is from someone else, like you from east of the Great River. But anyway, take my word for it. This steakhouse is great, so maybe we'll get to see you here sometime.
All right, we'll do. It's a date.
I don't know if I'd go that far, but yes.
Come on, Kevin. Hashtag me too. Come on.
And that's why you're still number one on our power index. So let's get right to it. James Comey, does he have any credibility, or is he just all about selling books?
The latter. He's all about selling books. I guess he got booed at a book signing party, which is not good for your book sales. Though I'm sure most of his sales will come out of the Washington D.C. zip codes because the swamp and those folks love him and adore what he's doing. But there doesn't seem to be any real new news. I thought Stephanopoulos did a pretty good job kind of fleshing that out, all things considered, given that it was Stephanopoulos doing the main interview. He obviously thinks it's really wild watching Comey speak out of both sides of his mouth. On the one hand, he suggests that he didn't want to make the FBI look political, and as if it could have an effect on the election. And then in almost the same breath, he says, "Well, I had to go out with what I knew, despite the risk of the FBI being looked at as influencing the election." It's like, well, pick one or the other, man. It's just President Trump was right to fire him. He was just the leaking alone, Kevin, the leaking alone to his buddies that was feed stuff to the New York Times. You got to wonder how long that kind of thing went on. I think Trump knew it had been going on for quite some time, and he made the gut check to can him, and I think the country's better off for it.
I would say David Bozell joining us from For America here at Compass Public Charter School. Kevin Miller in the morning on KIDO Talk Radio. So where do we go from here? We've got people going after Sean Hannity. You've known Sean for years. Your thoughts on the smear of Sean?
Sean is one of these guys where he works so hard. The 3-hour radio show, the 1-hour TV show. No one in this business works harder than Hannity. And no one in this business says what he means and means what he says as much and as consistently as Sean Hannity. He really is the genuine article. This idea, I mean, folks, don't get caught up in this media narrative that you're stupid and that there's just no way on God's green earth that a celebrity like Sean would call another celebrity's lawyer, like, private citizen Donald Trump, and ask for some legal advice. And yes, you can be a client in that setting and not be an official client. As strange as that may sound, but this happens within celebrity circles all the time. There's only so many lawyers going around that represent that kind of personality. And so it's a close-knit, tight group. And he's obviously known Michael Cohen for years, calls him a couple times to get some advice on a couple of different things. That's it. That's the end of the story. Here's the real issue. The press and the leftist activist community, they're just clutching at straws. Russia collusion has not panned out. Trump, being not fit for office has not panned out. Trump's Trump being potentially bringing an impeachment thing to the floor has not panned out. His tax cuts are working. They're just clutching straws, and so it's just character assassination of the highest order. And now they're going after his buddies, and obviously it's with Fox, and they're going to try to take Fox down. Now Fox does have its problems, Kevin. We got to address that. Okay, Laura Ingraham kind of stepped in it a couple weeks ago. She, incurred the wrath of leftist activist community. A number of corporations pulled out of her show, and in response, she went on vacation.
Right.
And I just, I really didn't. I said, okay, if that's your attitude, I wouldn't expect a lot of help, and I don't think she got it. So those corporations, that advertising will need to be replaced. MSNBC's ratings are probably the best in years, and CNN's ratings are probably the best in years. So they've got competition. They've got these networks chasing them down. Their primetime lineup isn't as sexy as it once was, and they're not really fighting back in the lower income situation. So they've got some headwinds for sure that they need to address.
David Bozell joining us from For America, foramerica.org. David, final thoughts for the week. What should we be looking out for?
Well, we'll see what happens coming out of these trade negotiations with Japan. I think the North Korea negotiations are really fascinating. The fact that the incoming Secretary of State went on this clandestine trip to North Korea without anybody knowing is pitch perfect Trump. That'll be really fascinating to see how that materializes, if perhaps a date and a location for the North Korea summit is announced. That I think that's something to look out for. Unfortunately, your members of Congress, they're gone. I know it's Thursday morning. The House left yesterday, so they don't necessarily feel as if they have any promises to keep for you. So, and I don't think we've spoken since Ryan announced his departure. Guys, look, you're a member of Congress, senators, but especially members, they're going to be asking for your vote. They're going to be recording your vote all spring long. I think it's just imperative that folks turn the tables. The conservative base play a little hard to get this time around, especially when it comes to the next speaker's race. I, for one, do not have any appetite at all for Kevin McCarthy or Steve Scalise. They simply just do not have the record of accomplishment in the positions they currently enjoy. And I want to see some fresh faces and a new approach. But if a conservative wants to be the Speaker of the House, they're going to have to earn it. This is not going to be easy, and they're going to have to sell it. And they're going to have to channel their inner Trump, jump into the race like he did at less than 1%, and sold his tail off and smoked the field. It's going to take that kind of effort for a conservative to be Speaker. I'm not sure if anybody in the House is willing to put that kind of time in. I'm not a fan of folks saying, I just want to be drafted to run. That stuff never works.
Well, we're going to draft you to run over to Indian Creek Steakhouse if we can ever get you into Idaho.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm in.
David Bozell, always number one on the Power Index. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Enjoy the day today, guys.
All right. Bye-bye. Our great friend David Bozell. Joined now here at Compass Public Charter School, Honors High School, Chandler Babb. Chandler, thank you for joining us. You're a senior here, and we appreciate your patience. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
So tell us a little bit about life as a senior, and what are you looking to do after your time here is done?
So right now I have 5 classes, which is basically just a regular electives, math, or regular classes you usually have. And then I usually go to work, where I work at Idaho Bookbindery, so I build books and create and just help put together things for bigger companies. And then I usually just help with my apprenticeship at Calvary Chapel, Boise, where I am a youth leader for the junior high. And then for plans after high school, I'm going to go to BSU and major in kinesiology with a biomechanics emphasis. So that's going to be a lot of fun.
Kinesiology with a
biomechanics emphasis.
That's fun?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll take your word for it, sir.
And I will the reason is because I love sports, and kinesiology is the study of the body movement.
Sure.
And I just want to stay in that realm.
It's a growing field.
Yeah. And Boise State has one of the better kinesiology departments as it's growing with the sports department and
Human
stuff like
Performance Lab there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I will be graduating with 44 credits, I believe, which will be my general education certificate. So I will graduate almost a junior in college.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just trying to figure that out. My analog brain is trying to keep up with you, but yeah. So when you graduate here from Compass, you'll almost be, or you will be, a junior in college.
Yeah, I'll almost be a junior, which is a lot better than, so I can just go straight into my major rather than just taking the general classes at Boise State.
Right. And you'll save a bunch of money doing that.
Yeah.
Right. So what's it like to be a youth leader? Why do you do that, sir?
Well, I've always been in a youth group at my church. I've jumped around from one church to another, and I've just found that
you go from church to church.
Well, no,
okay.
I
have to ask the tough questions here.
Like I've moved because I found that this church doesn't fit me well, so I'll just move to another one.
At a young age, you've discovered that.
Well, my family will, but
sure.
So we I've moved from Calvary Chapel Meridian, which is right behind this school, and gone to Calvary Boise, where we first started when we moved here.
Chandler, what would you say to people that may not value education and are looking for some motivation to work on their study skills, either a parent trying to motivate their kid or a student struggling to get through a tough class? What would you say to them?
You just have to persevere, and you also have to find your passion within that class. Science is not one of my favorite things to study, but I'm going into kinesiology, and that's a science-based field, and so I'm going to have to push through and find a way to have a passion for that scientific field.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people don't understand that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of chemistry, and there's a lot of science and math and kinesiology.
Yeah.
Yeah. People think it's just bodybuilding or something. Far from it. It's,
Yeah.
I mean, it's, the coursework rivals pre-med, I would imagine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know it's going to be a lot more like anatomy and physiology, AP stuff, rather than like the cells, because it's the study of the body movement, the way it moves. So, I'm not a huge fan of the cell part, but the body, it intrigues me because it's finding ways to better yourself and have better performance, like on a basketball court or a football field. Or
finally, what does education mean to you, Chandler?
it means to me to just find something that you like. It's passion. You have to find a passion within education and learn, be able to learn and find something you want to learn about, and be able to have like the knowledge and the strength and understanding to just go out and learn.
Roger that.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Coming up next, your chance to win Kevin Miller's dinner from Indian Creek Steakhouse. Don't forget, coming up next hour, Phil Robertson of Duck Dynasty will join us. That's right, Phil Robertson from Duck Dynasty will join us. We've got a lot going on. Thank You Thursday continues live from Compass Public Charter School, promoting our school, securing our future, thanks to CapEd Credit Union, Team Mazda Subaru, and Grade Power Learning. You're listening to Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. And blessed to be a part of your day, Kevin Miller in the morning here. And why don't we do this? Caller 10 now at 580-5436, 580-KIDO. You're going to win Kevin Miller's dinner, courtesy of Indian Creek Steakhouse in Caldwell, Idaho. Caller 10 at 580-5436, 580-KIDO. And I hope you have a good time. It's a great meal. You've got the 2 non-alcoholic beverages, party salads, and the rancher along with the Cowboy and Turf. You're going to love it. You can check out the dinner you're going to win at KIDOTalkRadio.com. By the way, promote our schools, secure our future, brought to you by CapEd Credit Union. We'll be hearing from them coming up. Our friend Todd Christensen will join us. Also, Team Mazda Subaru and Grade Power Learning in Meridian. Had a chance once again to do some tutoring yesterday. And no, I wasn't tutoring. I was being tutored. And I was thinking to myself, if I can learn this stuff at 50, or I guess you approach the age where you don't talk about your age and you say 50-ish, then your student, your son, your daughter will have no problems learning about, as I did, how many times, in school did we learn about pronouns or adjectives or adverbs or, when to end a sentence with a preposition? Never. And what is a preposition? It's been years. And I've found the experience rewarding, and especially when we're talking about schools and education. The folks at Grade Power Learning in Meridian, conveniently located on Meridian Road, they get it. And like I said, it's marvelous to go back and learn. And you're never too old to learn, and certainly at Grade Power Learning, you're never too young to learn as well. So I wanted to share that experience with you. And every Wednesday I go in, I get the training, and then I try to apply it to the blogs. And as the blogs improve, you'll see the issues there. Phone number's here at 580-5436, 580-KIDO. This is something that is an issue for all of us. And I don't know if you watched the 60 Minutes piece on Allegiant Air, but Allegiant Air, did you watch that piece at all? Oh, you'll never fly Allegiant Air after that. One of the cheapest, most affordable airlines, I guess, if you live in Cincinnati. And not a lot of folks in Idaho live in Cincinnati, but for those listening on the KIDO Talk Radio app, if it's up and running, or on the Radio Pup or the stream, and you listen to us in Cincinnati, did you know round trip from Cincinnati to Las Vegas is $80? Well, there's a reason why. Allegiant has had the most safety problems, the biggest issues, and for me, that's a person that doesn't like to fly to begin with. It's scary to be, you heard about that Southwest Airlines accident. So coupling that with what's going on with Allegiant, they've had the most safety incidents. Their fleet, which is 30% of the fleet, is old. They guzzle gas. You actually have the crew finding mistakes that the mechanics miss. Check that out at 60minutes.com from CBS. They did a huge story on it. And you have to wonder, in light of what happened with Southwest and others, how safe it is to fly.
Inspections have been ordered by the FAA for engine fan blades, like the one that snapped off a Southwest Airlines plane, resulting in the death of a woman this week. The announcement came last night, nearly a year after the engine's manufacturer recommended the inspections and a month after European regulators ordered their airlines to do them. Investigators say the blade that broke off mid-flight and triggered the emergency landing for Flight 1380 was showing signs of metal fatigue. The NTSB also blamed metal fatigue for an engine failure on a Southwest plane in 2016. Tanya J. Powers, Fox News.
You know, that's the tough part. That is the challenge. And I had a buddy of mine when I lived in Pittsburgh that worked for U.S. Air and kind of broke down what the airlines are really doing when it comes to keeping us safe and mechanical sound and safety. We'll talk about that in a minute. First, it is 7:29. You're listening to Kevin Miller live from Compass Public Charter School in Meridian, Idaho. Let's get you to work. Hey, congratulations to Nan in Meridian. Nan, you won Kevin Miller's dinner. Kurt, that's right. We're all happy for you at Indian Creek Steakhouse. Coming up next half hour, your chance to win as well. Nan, we so appreciate listening to Kevin Miller in the morning. Coming up next, we're going to talk about pollution. We're going to learn more from our friends at Compass Public Charter School. And we'll hear from you about fear of flying and whether or not the FAA is doing enough to keep you safe. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Maggie.
Good.
And don't forget your chance to win Kevin Miller's dinner this half hour. Caller 10, when we give you the cue to call, you're going to win that dinner for two at Indian Creek Steakhouse. Remember, caller 10, when I give you the cue to call, 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Before we come back to our guest here at Compass Public Charter Schools, we're going live to Chicago. Jeff Manasso joins us from Fox News Radio. Jeff, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Kevin.
So it's all about the air we breathe and just how dirty it is.
Well, yeah, and California, the Golden State gets a big fat F again. The American Lung Association, in its annual State of the Air report, shows that 133 million Americans, or more than 4 in 10, live with unhealthy levels of air pollution. California dominating the list, 8 of the top 10 for ozone in California, 7 for particulate matter. Basically, particulate, it's particles that, in the air that emanate from wildfires, wood-burning devices, coal-fired power plants, diesel engines. L.A. Long Beach area named the most ozone-polluted city, as it has for the nearly 19-year history of this report.
Well, we have a lot of those folks moving here to Idaho for the fresh air. Of course, we even have our air challenges, nothing compared to what they're dealing with in California, but we do have air issues and air quality issues. Of course, you go back to California, what are they going to do about it? I mean, like you said, 8 and 10 are in California.
Well, I mean, first of all, if you look at California, the American Lung Association basically said, to their credit, it's the state that has done more than any other state to try and reduce air pollution. It's topography. It's particularly Southern California, kind of surrounded by mountains, and you've got the hot weather, the topography, and all those cars, and it's kind of like a soup bowl, and it just kind of settles. But that California really is trying to make strides. But it's become a difficult thing, and you talk about particulates and wood burning stoves and things like that. Folks in Idaho, throughout Idaho, and in the Northwest, they use wood burning stoves. Logan, Idaho, made the list of one of the most polluted cities or areas for short-term particle pollution, but the cleanest for ozone. You folks also made the list. Idaho Falls, Rexburg, Blackfoot, Idaho, on the top 5 of that list. So that's some good news for you.
That's right. Finally, what do you make of Tom Brady? Is he playing a game with my man Belichick or what?
Tom Brady in Stormy Daniels' sketch, or Tom
No, not
Brady
No, the whole thing where he goes, well, I'm going to retire. I mean, they get rid of all the quarterbacks, and then he's playing hard to get. Come on, Brady.
I don't know. Aaron Rodgers is doing the same thing at this point. I don't have an opinion on that, Kevin. I don't. Sorry.
Jeff Manasso. Well, when it comes to clean air, you're all about that. We appreciate you, sir.
You too. Thanks, Kevin.
Our great friend Jeff Manasso joining us. KIDO Talk Radio. We're going to go to Cindy in Caldwell, who has a comment about the last student we talked to from Compass Public Charter School and wanted to share that with us. And Cindy, good morning. You're on KIDO Talk Radio.
Yes, good morning, Kevin. Great show. Very impressed by that young man. And interestingly enough, my word for today is to give you all out there hope. There is a chiropractors who also practice kinesiology, which means, example, I have a doctor evaluating a spine doctor because I have some bulging disc with nerves running through. But that said, if you have back issues or other issues, there are other things that a kinesiologist can do, and you actually do have them in this area, to strengthen the muscles, ligaments, et cetera, around your back when your back is in spasm and pain. So interestingly enough, I had just spoken to someone about a particular doctor. So it's just so hopeful to me, to see that,
Well, and a man so young that is so into kinesiology and graduating here, and then almost a student or almost a junior at Boise State. That's pretty impressive.
Well, the other impressive
Very
thing, because
impressive,
it really
I guess.
ties into being goal-oriented, and, it does, certainly there are students that it takes a while to figure out what it is you may want to focus on and do and have a vision for your future. But I almost had to laugh because you have this fine, articulate young man, everything that's good about America. And then you talk about a James Comey who a double-minded
eclectic
man.
mix in the
Yeah,
morning,
but a
Cindy,
double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. So this is what I wanted to say as a comparison. Here you have a man who is double-minded all over the place, compared to this bright, young, articulate man. As articulate as Dave Leroy, who I was talking to in a meet and greet last night, totally focused, totally on point, not
Right.
using words like I've never heard you weaponize words. And that is something I honor this show for. I've heard you let people talk, even though you could have come back and weaponized your own words. But I just really want to thank you for that, because it's wonderful to engage in conversations, listening like you do to someone like that, young man, or someone who, who isn't back and forth and using their words like the media just does to have a goal. So thanks, Kevin, and I look forward sometime to seeing you over at the Indian Creek Steak Saloon. But you got to say about the great entertainment they have. Oh, it is so fun. With my back, I can't be dancing anymore. But at nighttime, it's great.
I don't go out at night, so we'll be doing a lunch at Indian Creek.
Oh, Kevin. All right.
My life.
Okay.
All right.
Well, you have a great day. Press on, and I hope you have some more students on. It's just fascinating to be so energized by them.
Thank you, Cindy. Take care.
Hey, I will. No, I give my cares to God. Thank you, Kevin. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Always a pleasure to hear from our great contributors, Cindy and Caldwell. By the way, it's been review and commentary on this program today. I love Cindy's comments about how we love to hear what people have to say. And then we had Max last hour saying you're folksy, but you're no Rush Limbaugh. So thank you, Max. You never know what's going to happen each and every morning here with Kevin Miller in the Morning. By the way, coming up, your chance to win that dinner for two, Kevin Miller's dinner at Indian Creek Steakhouse. Caller 10 when I give you the cue to call. Joining us now is Compass Administrator Kelly Trudeau, who's just laughing at me. And thank you for doing that. I appreciate you, ma'am.
Sure, no problem. I'm good at that.
I was going to say, good to have you back, but we're glad to be back in your school.
Thank you. Thanks for being here.
So as we talk about with politicians, we'll ask you the question, the state of education here at Compass, what's going on?
Well, we have exciting things happening here at Compass. So, you've already heard from some of our students, and our students are phenomenal. We have great teachers. Think you heard from some of them or will be hearing
I
from
love
a
the
few
trip
of
to
them.
D.C. and New York.
Yes. Okay, I wasn't
Wow.
sure. Isn't
That's
that
impressive.
awesome? Yes.
Yes.
They had a great time, excellent teachers that joined those students, and those are just some of the great things that we do at Compass. But I wanted to talk to you about what we have that's exciting.
What would you like to talk to me about?
So we've acquired some land, and we are building a new building. And the long-term goal is for that to be a K-12 facility. So our goal is to bring our two separate campuses back together as one. Our initial phase will be to build a 6th through 12th grade building, basically replacing this building because we lease this campus. Right. So, and that our lease is up in the fall of 2019. So the goal is to be into our new building in the fall of 2019. We'll be breaking ground this summer.
Well, congratulations, and hopefully we'll be able to see you from the road, because all the building around you, it's amazing. We've been coming here for a few years. This is the first time I actually couldn't find you because of all the building that's going on around your campus here.
It's true, and it's actually, we've been looking for land for 2 years, so it's been quite a challenge to find land.
Right, not to interrupt you, but I mean, looking for land in this season that we're in this,
right.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know why we seem to always do things this way. Compass seems to always be kind of on the bad timing when it comes to real estate.
Right.
So, in fact, so our other building, part of the reason we can't just all move together at one time and we have to do this in phases is because we need to sell our other campus, our other building. It's on the market.
Right, for a good deal on Cherry Lane.
Yes.
Right.
Sealed. We're taking sealed bids. The due date is April 30th.
Okay.
And so if we can get a great offer, that probably will be a challenge given the fact that we bought that building at the height of the market and then it crashed, and now we're back at the well, who knows? Maybe because we're back at the height of the market, we'll get a good deal.
Thinking about it, though, Meridian, Idaho, Cherry Lane, right by the 10 Mile. I used to live in that neighborhood, so that's why
Yes.
I'm so partial to it. I think you'll
Yes.
do well.
It's a nice facility. We have a great realtor who has sent out, I think, over 200 letters about
Right.
the facility. We've actually got a virtual tour on his site and on the website. So if we can get that building sold, we'll build both phases all at once and bring everyone together at once. If not, like I said, we'll do it in phases. And but we are looking for some donations from, of course, our families, our stakeholders. We're hoping for them to support we call it the Sustainability Fund. So our website, we have a way for them to donate and to contribute.
How does that work in charter education? And I've got a follow-up concerning just all the people coming in. Meridian yesterday going over 100,000 people. But how does that work? Because to go here, there's no tuition, but the parents and the stakeholders, aren't they more invested than, let's say, your prototypical public school?
I would like to say yes to that. Unfortunately, I think even our own stakeholders have some misconceptions. So we just recently had some parent meetings to help them to understand that we actually do not receive the property tax dollars. So when that the traditional public schools receive. So when the West Ada School District is running a bond or a levy, and they just recently passed a $14 million supplemental levy, that charter schools, Compass, as our own district, we receive 0% of that. And so we actually, when we presented that to our parents in our parent meetings, there were audible sounds of surprise. So unfortunately, I think a lot of our parents don't contribute a lot because they think we're getting the same funds that the traditional public schools get because we are a public school. Unfortunately, that's not the case. We have to go to private bonds to be able to build a building. And private bonds are very costly. It's going to cost us about $1.5 million to borrow $12 million. So it's very costly. We do receive some facility funds from the state. All charter schools do, but the gap is pretty huge. Like we receive about $380 per student, so it's based on enrollment. And for example, we pay between our two facilities, we're paying out about $700,000 annually for our mortgage or our lease,
Right.
and we receive about $350,000 from the state in support.
Right,
so
which
huge
is,
gap.
Right, which is very different from your public schools. Your
Right.
board, your administration, you have to balance a budget.
Correct.
You have to manage resources, which, again, I guess back to my point, you have people that are a little bit more involved or should be more involved because
Sure.
you've got a lot of more heavy lifting to do to provide this
Right.
quality of education.
Right. And that's really what we're trying to do right now, educate our families, our stakeholders, to let them know that we do need their involvement. So, the Sustainability Fund, really we're asking parents to contribute like $25 a month. We have an ability to do that online. That's $300 a year. That's pretty cheap compared to a lot of the private schools in the area. We are one of the top 10 schools in the state, so that's a pretty good education for very little if they choose to contribute. There's also a 50% tax credit up to $2,000 annually. You basically, it's like $1,000 out of pocket, or if you're doing the 25 a month, it's like $150 out of pocket. So it's a great tax shelter. We also are going to have some opportunities for some naming opportunities. If we've got any big donors out there, we've got a field that could be named, we've got a gymnasium that could be named. So there's definitely some opportunities for for those who are so inclined to donate.
Sure. Well, we appreciate you, Kelly. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time.
Thanks for having us. You're coming up next, your chance to win Kevin Miller's dinner. Listen for your chance to win next on KIDO Talk Radio. KIDO Talk Radio, Kevin Miller in the morning. Our great friend Todd Christensen with us. By the way, Cindy wants to go to Indian Creek Steakhouse. Maybe you and I should go to. Have you been there yet?
I haven't been there.
Okay. Caller 10 right now at 580-5436, 580-KIDO. You're going to win Kevin Miller's dinner, courtesy of Indian Creek Steakhouse. Todd Christensen joining us here, CapEd Credit Union. Let's talk a little bit about the 8th annual high school video contest. How'd it go?
It went awesome. We had over, I think it was about 25 entries from across southern Idaho. Last night we were at Overland Park Cinema where we showed the top 15, and we're proud to announce our top winner from Mountain View High School. Mountain View High School, where we were a couple weeks ago. Justin Buse, I think it's Buse. Justin and his crew put in a great video. They took the top prize of $700, but we had about 25 entries. Top 15 were shown last night, and we awarded the top 5 both cash money as well as licenses to Adobe Creative Cloud. So it was a great event last night.
At my age, I'm still trying to learn this stuff. It's amazing what these kids can come up with. What really impressed you and the judges?
And the elements that impressed us was the storyboarding and selling the idea. Selling a story in a short, not being able to share the entire story, but pieces of it so that you would have interest to learn more. And then the lighting, the sound, the editing, being able to cut from one to another scene. We took an opportunity to have many of our judges sit on a panel and interact with the students and ask the questions. What were they looking for? What could they do better? And it was a great opportunity to give instruction to youth within our community.
To me, it sounds intimidating.
I would maybe a little
try and learn that.
and learning. We had a lot of great questions from youth, both that are at the middle school, at the upper classes of middle school, as well as those that are first into high school.
Middle school?
Recently, the Idaho CapEd Foundation here in the Meridian or the West Ada School District, we awarded funds to 4 middle schools who have come together to purchase video development equipment, cameras, editing software, etc., to be able to utilize that in their science programs, and that students have to put a documentary together for their science project.
Todd Christensen joining us from CapEd Credit Union. Early childhood learning and CapEd, how does that work?
Over the last, I would say 6, 7, if not longer, in years, that we have been dedicated to early childhood learning and literacy through the CapEd Foundation, as well as a credit union. And we have great partners, whether that be Lee Pesky Learning Center, the Idaho Association for the Education of Young Children, the STARS program, and the many childhood care providers here in the state. We have a great event coming up on Saturday with AEYC, the Week of the Young Child. We'll be out at the Botanical Gardens. It's one of the few times throughout the year that the Botanical Garden opens to the public at no cost. We'll have the Reed DeRice hot air balloon out there, inflated and on display from 11 to about 12. And then we'll also have Edward the Bookworm, our ambassador of early childhood learning. We'll be doing some